when you are taking the capabilities with AI and data science and you do it the right way, you can create things that could never be achieved before.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Lomitech, and sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, and Birthright Excel. Let's talk about disruptive AI. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders, and let's meet Yorai Fainmesser, General Partner of Disruptive AI. Yorai is the co-founder and general partner at Disruptive AI Fund, investing in early-stage startups with great entrepreneurs and remarkable AI. He also founded AI Square Forum Arab and Israeli AI community. In 2019, he retired as a colonel from the IDF as head of a Technological R&D unit, 3060 and 8200, in the Intelligence Corps, responsible for developing modern data science systems and AI applications, acting as an exclusive center for computer vision and imaging technology, receiving the Israel Defense Prize Award. Yorai Fainmesser, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders.
Great to be here.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much for coming.
I'm in your beautiful offices in Herzliya. I don't know how much you can see this amazing view behind us, but it's spectacular. And you're working with some of the most incredible people in the world. Disruptive AI VC. You're looking at an early stage fund dealing with artificial intelligence, which is your bread and butter, but more from a military perspective. But even before that, you're knee deep into cyber, dealing with some of the most exciting things that has happened in the Israel ecosystem ever and in the world. Unfortunately, we can't talk about most of them, but at least I'll get to pick you about your journey a little bit and about how you see artificial intelligence as a catalyst and as an enabler, and a little bit about what you're doing today, working with early stage companies. So tell me a little bit about yourself and maybe walk me through a little bit on your journey from cyber to AI.
Great. So we pretty got it all around, and I think the thing with AI is that I found myself discovering the area through my hands, through my daily working, and being so many years with the algorithms and cyber, offensive cyber mainly in A200, and suddenly this AI, or as I used to call it, this as a data science, something that combines science with data, with big data, entered my office. And it's a kind of a funny story, because the first time I did something with statistical algorithm is when I used to, with the hands-on to do algorithms and to lead the area of speech analysis. And it was a successful project from technological matters with some achievements in the area of the, for our intelligence officers, and it gave its contribution. But they didn't like the way the outcome was a statistic outcome, like saying, I'm sure in 80% that it is the person that is...
What bothered them in this idea that...
They wanted... They wanted it to be all or nothing, even though, in the intelligence, it's never all or nothing. I remember there was once, sharing with you because it was advertised on the first page in the Haaretz newspaper.
Okay.
So I can share it with you without killing you at the end of this conversation. You remember at the Gulf War, the whole world wanted to know, is Saddam Hussein alive? And we got some samples. And they wanted us to decide whether it's Saddam Hussein or not. And we did some great work around it, not me in person, my soldiers, and they come with their outcome, and we actually proved that Saddam Hussein was the one that speaks in that conversation that we had in those samples. And there was one day that I talked about it with the chief of staff, and I think there was the Minister of Defense. I presented it myself to them, and then the next day it was on the paper, the intelligence experts decided that it is Saddam Hussein talking, and he's alive, and let's continue with the operation. So this is the thing, but it was never absolutely certain. It was something like statistical. And then a few years later, when I took command of the unit, which involves big data and combines UI and GUIs for officers in the intelligence corps. And then this group enters my room. They come from the R&D group, and they say, we have a great idea to do facial recognition, combining the regular methods, but with deep learning. And what I said is, stop there. Been there, done that. We close those projects. Our customers don't like something like estimation. They want accuracy, and you can never get there. And then they told me, but you promised us some freedom of research, and this is the freedom we want.
So at this point, you're the head of the R&D group of big data and data science. So you have to make some decisions on which project to go.
Do we want to go into that project? Is with a lot of you have to invest some efforts in that and people and
what I'm also hearing you say that the people that came to you, there is a sort of this tension or frustration that on one hand they're coming and they're brilliant and the world of data
they're
science,
like the best of the best,
and you never know where you're going to end up. It's all about experimentation, and so they're expecting some freedom to go and experiment with these projects.
Right, and it's about 10 years after. Actually, I didn't fail from tech side, but it was more from the bureaucracy and the way of.
So you have the tension of military with innovation.
And the mission, and then the innovation, then to put them together. But then I had my promise, because I promised them some freedom of research, right. And they told me this is where we want our freedom. So I agreed. I said, okay. So the discussion is about the freedom, not about the project. Right. Let's do it, but in one condition. I'm going to review this project every week in my room. You're going to come here. We're going to talk about the things and see how it works around.
Because did you feel as a leader that you're able to then present them with how the entire military sees it, except for this R&D group? Why was it important to you to be very meticulous with this project?
I think I felt that I can bring to the table my experience, even from failures, but also from things that I've done and succeed in, and also with helping them to gather all the project parts all together, to bring professors from the academics and the right customers to the table, and to actually help them to figure out what product will make the most out of this technology. Right. And I wanted to be sure that something will come out of it and not just a nice technology. Right. And yet, I believed in them. I still believe in them. They're doing great things. Some of them are still in the IDF. And you have to always know that the people that comes after you are probably better than you, because they have you and your experience, and they can bring something else and do something more new. But at this very particular moment is the decision to go to deep learning and machine learning in this unit. It was the first time the Army did something like that, putting it on the table and saying we are going to let AI be part of our life, and it was very successful. We won the defense prize
for this specific project.
It was part of this project.
Wow.
2 years later, or 1.5 years later. Incredible. And they got very successful achievements for the intelligence. It's still working, and it was very cool. But the main thing is, in my head, I understood that this is the time for AI. This is the time to go forward with that let's say way of thinking and new way of doing projects with big data and the statistical technologies.
So I have to ask you, because we talked before recording this. I came here, we talked on the phone. Your passion for AI and your conviction of where we're headed and how it's being used in the world is incredible. Yet you spent decades in the world of cybersecurity. You won Prizem, you were a colonel there, you talked about some of the most sensitive things that anybody could experience in the world of cyber. What made you do this switch? What caused this transition for you where you're saying like, wow, I'm rediscovering this new phenomenon that I have such a deep conviction about?
Well, I suddenly understood that this is the tool for the future to come that will impact the most the way we live and the way we act and the way we take decisions and how life is going to be in the next few years. And though cyber is a great area for innovation, when you're taking the capabilities with AI and data science and you do it the right way, you can create things that could never be achieved before. Sometimes I try to explain what it is AI for people who are not technical, with no understanding in that area. And then I try to tell them it's like training your own child how to walk in the street. Now, you can train him to walk, but then you have to train him to take decisions along the way when he's a child. Right. When to cross the road, when to look right, when to look left, when to run, when to stop. And you can only train him by demonstrating with enough examples. Right. And suddenly we can do that with computers. We no longer have to know everything on advance and write, all the rules and all the options. We can demonstrate the computer with the situations the way we want them to end, and we can move forward from that and scale. And suddenly you understand that this is the key for creating technologies that might be more involved in our life.
And so today
this is the magic. So I decided to move forward with that.
And not only with that, but you're taking that same example of working with a team, meeting with them on a weekly basis. At the end, reaching some incredible milestones. And today you're doing it in the private sector. You're doing it with an early stage VC
right.
fund, with Todd and with these and some incredible partners.
Great partners, right.
What is your day-to-day like? So why choose this? Because you mentioned to me, I have a pension. I can have a comfortable life. You got to a level in the army that very, very few people manage to get to. Why come here every day now and work so hard?
So the real passion was when I looked at the private sector and I looked what happened with the cyber. And with the cyber, suddenly when we discovered the cyber and actually made something to happen there, we established schools and we have great high tech around that. And there are a few places that people with cyber innovation can go. And then I looked at the AI and I say, if I'm an AI guy, if I grew up in 800 doing AI, where would I go with my innovation? Where's the next step? Where to go? And then I saw that there is no home for those people. There is a lack of leadership around it. And then I said to myself, let's build a home. Let's build a home for the AI community in Israel, the innovation AI community. I think the academic has great backup, but the innovation and the startups in areas where they need to see people that understand in deep tech manners, but also in execution experience, way of looking at things, that understand what they want to do and understand how to leverage their ideas to great things. And in my daily manner, I look at so many startups and people that even don't know what they want to do, but they know they want to do something with AI because they understand what it can bring to their ideas or to their life. And I see that I can sometime help them to, strategically build a vision around it. People without the experience will not probably understand all the way that it takes to do an AI creation, to build, all the experiments and all this path of trial and error and the statistical outputs. And if you help them to build something around it, then they can really appreciate it and do something with that. And this is the way you can contribute them. So companies that we invest in, I meet on a weekly basis, even if one of my partners, my great partners, is sitting in the board. So I'm helping on the tech side, bringing my experience in AI and how to build all this AI pipeline the right way and how to look at things. And
what was the shift like? Great. From very top-down bureaucratic system, as in any military or any big corporate, and all of a sudden you're going to the extreme other end, where you have two guys or girls sitting around and trying to figure out what to do with no real limitations and nobody to report to, just trying to experiment and have a lot of fun. How is that for you personally?
So I must say that where I had my service, it was not so well. It was bureaucratic, and you have to know how to navigate in the system. But the ritual that you are sitting with young minds, sharp young minds, with some ideas or some needs that you have to find a solution for them, and you're thinking together with them, bringing your experience and bringing their passion and their I call it the firepower, their brain into the room. It's the same, because all around the table wants to create something new that will change something in our life, in our in our defense area. So it doesn't really matter, but the ritual is similar. Of course, in the private sector, you have to look in different angles to make sure it's going to be scalable, it's going to be profitable. Is it a good investment? So there are other parameters, but still, it's a parameter.
Tell me a little bit about the personality of the entrepreneurs that you enjoy working with, that are in the AI space specifically. How do you picture the persona of these entrepreneurs that are coming to you and you say, I want to work with you. I believe that you're going to lead to some disruptive technology in the next few years.
I think they bring to the table two kind of things. One is a deep understanding in a specific domain, and I don't really care of the domain, but they come with deep understanding of that domain. And another thing is they kind of feel, not truly know how to do that, but they feel that taking all the data around this domain and doing something with that will open doors to scale and to do and to impact and to do many great things in that area. So people that come, let's take for example this company that I'm sitting on the board, it named Staircase. It's a company that actually build what I call a relationship intelligence platform. Mm-hmm. Now, we all have relationships. They are focused on the area of customer success. Mm-hmm. And customer success is a post-sale stage. And we all know that the success is somehow related to the relationship we managed to create between two organizations.
Right.
And they understood that taking some ideas from the intelligence way of thinking and bringing it to the table and allowing the person that is managing the customer success department or the relationship to see and to understand the relationships using the data. So it's data-driven way of system. Now, understanding that the key for success in customer success area is in the data, and you can do something with that using AI to leverage it to our daily manner. This is the key for success. Now, I'm not sure they knew how to do that exactly, but it was the idea, and this is what I love here, and this is how to do, and we are building together ways of how to use the right technologies for the right purposes, with all other aspects, of course, but this is the...
If you go back now to your childhood a little bit, middle school, elementary school, who's Yorai? What really guides you? What fascinates you? What sparks your curiosity?
Well, if you go long back, I think all the time I was kind of a technological, physical geek.
From early on?
First time I had my keyboard was at the age of 10, something like that. I remember the first course I took in programming. I didn't know English.
Wow.
So I didn't know the difference between capital letters and short letters. So the teacher was writing, I think, I'm not sure what language was it. I don't really remember. We used Commodore 64, something like that. I don't. And I just copied from the board, and I did mistake. C, you can write like a capital letter, and you can write it a small letter. And I didn't understand the difference. So using the keyboard, I made so many mistakes. I didn't know English. And it took me some time, and then so I wrote programs before I knew English. So it's kind of, so I used
I love it.
So it's amazing, and so it was fascinating. It's not that I'm a natural born programmer. I like to do many other things. I think that I like physics a lot. I was interested in airplanes. I did like flying models and nice models and all kinds of that. I was sure that I will be a pilot, but gave it up as soon as I found myself in the engineering and electronics. I found out that I'm strong in that and decided to work.
If you look today, where do you draw your daily inspiration? We touched on it a little bit. It's about, you mentioned working with the teams and the technology itself. But, if you look at the day-to-day, when you wake up in the morning, what inspires you, in what you do?
So it's like not only in what I do as an investor or as work, but also in all other manners. I think what inspires me the most is the thing that we are in a global era. You can go. You can send a bit from here to any place in the world. You can create a network from here to every place in the world.
Yeah.
And this is amazing,
We lost the amazement with that, right?
It's amazing.
I'm growing up into it.
Right, you grew up into it, but it was never like this before. And only when the cyber started and the web and everything was started to be connected.
Amazing.
And to know in everything that you do that you can do it globally makes you think of everything you do in a global way. And I think this is amazing. When the Abraham Accords took place and there was like peace thoughts, so I somehow connected with Mohammed Al-Madhani from the UAE. He has a meetup group of big data UAE, something like that, with 2,000 followers, non-virtual, like a physical meetup group. And we decided to build something together. What are the chances that I will meet someone like that? We never met, just with, virtual and online. Amazing. And we created something we call AI Square. It's Arab-Israeli artificial intelligence. So it's AI Square, and AI Square like a place, in the street that you talk and share thoughts. And we created this series of, webinars and meetups, all virtual. And and then suddenly I got a phone call from this group from Turkey that they want to cooperate with us because they want to engage their AI community with our AI community. Incredible. What are the chances that what I told them the first time? We were in peace 10 years ago and suddenly something happened between Israel and Turkey, and they told me, it never happened. We are in the high tech. We don't mind of politics, and we are very open to do things together. Incredible. And suddenly I say, hey, why not? People are people. So we went with that and start collaborating and do some relationships and try to build a bridge for people to engage. And I never expected it. It just happened, with the computer, nothing else.
That's entrepreneurship.
So this is amazing. So I think that's what inspires me the most.
And what are a few words that you would use to describe yourself? Who's Yorai in a few words?
So I think we didn't discuss it much, but there's a part of me that I'm kind of a hacker. Okay. I'm not a hacker in a way of to penetrate. Did it strategically way, but not only that, but hacking the way of thinking, like strategic hacking, not accepting the basic formats and rules, trying to find the holes or the shortcuts. I think it's part of the Israeli, spirit and culture, but I found out that I'm doing it pretty well, so I moved on with that. So this is one kind. Another description is my friends are used to call me Mr. Line. You remember that character?
Yeah.
That he walks on the line.
Yeah.
And he always want everything to be straight and fixed. So I like things. I like things to be done right. If you are doing something, do it right. Don't skip up stages and so forth. And we called it in the army, we called it the Ferrari standard. Because, in Ferrari, if I'll give you my Ferrari keys, I don't have a Ferrari, don't worry. But if I'll give you my Ferrari keys, you will drive it anyway, even if you don't know where to go. You will just enjoy the driving.
Yeah.
And my office in the army was in front of the Ferrari agency in Tel Aviv. So I got to see all the Ferraris there. So it became like a phrase for the unit, like we have to do our softwares as a Ferrari standard, and Yorai is the first one to drive it and to see if it's in the right standard. So it's like paying attention to the little details and make sure the all complete solution is the right way and fits what it needs.
So, that makes a lot of sense. Yorai.
So this is me.
Toda rabba rabba. This was amazing. Thank you for hosting.
Thank you very much.
I can't wait to see what you're doing with Disruptive AI and the companies that you're working with. And I just love, the personal conviction that you've had throughout your career. You've gotten to deal with some of the most incredible things in the cyberspace, transitioning to the AI space, being there at this inflection point where you're seeing the dissonance between the old world and the new world, with the new innovation, with the statistical questions, but then taking it into the private sector and understanding the grand scheme of things and the globalization. I just love the journey, and I learned a lot. So thank you very, very much, and stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was great fun.